Should just be recording.
All right.
Yep, there goes the transcript. All right, I'm gonna exit out of that. Cool. All right. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. I think most people who listen to this podcast probably know who you are because they're probably out of Texas, but
Yeah, it's all Texas guys.
yeah.
So anyway, I'm Ty Thomason. I'm a longtime Magic player. I've been playing a lot more old school last year, basically. And used to live in Texas. Moved to New Jersey back in May. But I played Magic in Texas for basically 2001 till 2019, 2020. So probably seen me around if you're from Texas.
Yeah. And more importantly, you have a blog, which is what I use to come up with my 3 interview questions, which I want to be clear, like, I usually don't come up with anything before I talk to somebody. I just like make that shit up on the fly. But your blog, like for people who want to like take a look at like what you've done, I think your blog is absolutely the way to go. Which led me to my first question. Do you think you're the best American Scryings player out there? Or do you think you've played the most Scryings out of any American?
I don't know because I think some people got to play a little bit more in the pandemic, like right at the beginning, because we were planning on having the Houston event probably like
Right.
in May 2020, I think when the Magic Fest was going to be there, and I know that they had the online NoobCon was Scryings, and I missed that, so I think there's some people that maybe have played just as much, especially the people that played this past weekend, at the Scryings event in New Jersey. So I don't know if I've played the most, but I've definitely thought about it a lot.
Yeah,
And
and that's like so I look through the Scrying, like I'll link it in the blog, but if you go to the old school blog, the Scryings is like listed there, right? And I look through those cards and I'm like, I know what some of them do, probably minus like the Mirage block stuff because like it's kind of got out at that point, but um you you've come up with a bunch of different decks. We can talk about your deck that you played at this most recent Scryings event, which I'm
yeah,
not gonna. I think all things considered came out today, so I don't
right.
really feel like I need to rehash any of that stuff. But I want to ask this question: how good was the pizza at this pizza place? Like, was it
Uh,
decent?
Well,
Like,
I would say the pizza was nothing to write home about. It was like special fancy pizzas. So like their specialty pizza was like a what was it, like a white sauce bacon pizza, Alfredo bacon. It's like closer to a California Pizza Kitchen style pizza than like what you'd normally expect at
out
a
of
New.
like Jersey, New York.
Yeah,
Okay.
because there's the pizza up here is like way better than I ever thought. There's a place where we play trivia every week and they have really good pizza. So this place we played at, the pizza was good. It just wasn't what you'd expect from a New York, New Jersey pizza place. So
Okay. Interesting take. I was just curious. Like, if I didn't live so far away, I almost wanted to fly just for the pizza alone, because that's the one thing I miss here on the West Coast is like good East Coast pizza. But
yeah, it was nice.
um. Tell me about just talk through your deck, and then like you've played Scryings before this event.
Hmm.
So did you? I guess like my first question after you're done talking through your deck is, did you come up? Is this just a deck that you wanted to play, or is this a deck that you wanted to win with? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, that's definitely a good question because yeah, and actually, I think the All Things Considered podcast. I think I was interviewed by Andy before. This was probably like a month and a half ago when he first
sure,
announced the event. He asked basically everybody like, "What do you think is going to happen? What do you think other people are going to play? What do you think about Scryings?" And I came into this format. The last time I played Scryings was at the WinCon in Italy back in September, and that one, I was trying to win. They're like, it's the Scryings champion,
mm-hmm.
and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to play the best deck I can, or at least one of the best decks that I had the cards to build. This time I was like, oh, it's a little smaller event, casual. But there's nothing really to try and win. I was just going to play a deck that I wanted to play. Originally, like I said, I wanted to play Power Artifact because I just picked up some Japanese Basalt monoliths. Maybe they're Japanese. I don't know what language they are. They're Black Border. They're foreign. That's like kind of what my collection is at this point. And I was like, oh, I'll do that. But then I played the two-headed giant thing back in November, so I was like, I'll
Yeah,
play Power
John.
Artifact. Like, I don't need to play Power Artifact again. Like, let's play something else. And then that's when I started looking through the thing again and realized that a lot of those birds are white, and so they work with Crusade. And then I just did a one quick second search on what birds are actually in old school,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I found the Osai vultures, which if I hadn't found that card, it would. I just don't. There's not enough creatures to support like the full mono white birds. You'd probably be playing like Birds of Paradise or Zephyr Falcon or something with birds. But I wanted to play. I've always been partial to tribal strategies. Like I play Merfolk in Modern a lot. Where you just play like a bunch of lords and they all pump each other, and then you kill people really fast when they're not expecting it. And the birds deck did basically as close as I've seen of a deck be able to do that in old school. Like, I've tried goblins, I've tried Merfolk in old school, and they just don't quite have that snowball effect of like you get two pieces out and you run away with it. Whereas you get a Crusade and a Soraya out, and now every bird you play is a 3/3. 3/3s are pretty big in old school.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to win. I was, and the way that with the format was set up, it was gentleman's rules, no library, no mind twist. So,
right.
With that in mind, it's like, yeah, we're just here to have fun. I'm gonna play a bunch of white creatures and a couple of blue power.
Yeah, I mean, like, for those who are listening, I'm gonna link his blog in the show notes, so you can just go look at his list. But it is like Bird Tribal, and it's with blue power splash, black splash for demonic tutor, and one other thing.
Did I put another black card in the board? I think it's just demonic tutor.
Yeah. Hold on, I have your blog pulled up.
I considered playing Terror, but I don't think it made it in. And
yeah, it's just demonic tutor.
Okay.
It's just demonic tutor. Okay. Yeah. I didn't get through listening to All Things Considered, but so you've played Scryings before. When I looked at through Scryings, I'm like, okay, red, green, that's what I would have played for obvious reasons. But it looks like those two colors get like quite a lot of help out of Scryings. What did you think the meta was going to look like? Or like, how did it line up well with what your preconception versus what showed up? You know what I mean?
Right. I would say it was probably pretty close to what I was expecting, which is just a lot of people find a couple of cards they want to play from Scryings. And the other thing was you had to play 8 Scryings cards at all times in your deck. So, the best way to do that is to play cards like River Boa or Dwarven Miner or Wildfire and say any of these like creatures that you can easily put 4 in your deck. Goblin Vandal, Goblin Tinker. There's just so many red and green cards in Scryings that it supports. So, and also it's a kind of a card availability thing where for the decks that are actually really good because of Scryings, like the Time Vault Twiddle deck, because you get Emerald Charm, like, well, who actually owns 4 Time Vaults other than people that already play that deck? Like,
right. Yeah.
I can't play that deck. And some of the other, if you're playing like a full control deck with Sacred Mace as your kill card, otherwise it's like most people don't play the deck anyway. So I'm not expecting the people to play like creatureless control Sacred Mace to kill. Like that's just not something I expect people to play. And I'd also expected, probably a lot less of the workshop decks that people love to play workshops, but there's just not a good reason to play workshops with the Scryings cards. There's no good new artifacts, and people want to try something new. So if you're going to play workshops, you'd basically be playing, maybe Latinum's Legacy, maybe
and some like Jester's Caps or some shit.
Yeah,
like,
maybe something else. Latinum's Legacy, and maybe like I don't know, you play like Undiscovered Paradise or something. I don't know. Tithe is a card you can probably fit into your workshop deck if you want to, but yeah. So like I wouldn't expect any like workshops or the heavier combo decks. So I was just expecting a lot more just people playing creatures, Imperial Armor, Riverboa, Natural Order, those types of decks.
So the modes make sense then, because you just cut them off. Okay. So what do you think, having played this much Scryings, what do you think the best decks in Scrying is right now?
I still think it's probably the Time Vault deck. It just has a little bit more resiliency than the Power Artifact deck. I think specifically for the event where you couldn't play Mind Twist, the Power Artifact deck's a lot better since you can just hold the combo in your hand and never have to worry about them taking it. Yeah, I guess people could play Stupor, but otherwise, you can just go off all in one turn, especially with City of Solitude. But I think just being able to play out your combo pieces and not have to have double blue up plus the counterspell makes the Time Vault deck slightly better. Though you are more likely to fail when you have the combo. So I think those are the two best decks. The other decks I think that are really good, I think, like the deck I played in Italy for WinCon was like a red, green, blue, just burn deck. 12 bolts with River Boas and various Uktavi Orangutan, Man of War, and Goblin Vandal, that type of stuff, which I thought was very strong, especially considering, people there were just playing their normal Swedish robots decks. It's like, well, I have Utabi Orangutan.
Yeah. Yeah, get booked. Yeah.
Yeah, even though I lost to it, but that's it. Yeah, it was like that deck felt like, you can play all the good cards, all the good power cards, and in a way that some of the other combo decks don't. Like some of the combo decks can't really afford to be playing Wheel of Fortune or Balance or whatever. Whereas like the 12 bolt rug deck could play all of that stuff, no problem.
Sure. Man, that was all my good questions. Here's another kind of okay question. What new deck archetype does Scryings allow? So we have the Time Vault deck, which comes with the Emerald Charm, right? And then you can play Stormbind, I think there's play Stormbind, Zern Orb, decks like that. What else is available as Scryings? What does it open up that doesn't happen in old school? There's the idea of just taking an old school deck and making it better, and then there's the idea that there's a new deck.
Yeah, I think the ones that are kind of new decks, I guess Birds counts. It's not.
I think it counts. I think it's fair.
Yeah. Jockle Hops is probably a big one. That's a deck that you have Jockle Hops. There's a lot of good red cards you can play. You get Pillage. You get a few more red burn spells if you want. You have Wildfire Emissary. So your Jockle Hops deck can be pretty strong, and it's something that is actually, I always expect that to be played a lot more because I think it's pretty strong if you know what you're build it right. And so I feel like one of the cards that I like to play a lot more in Scryings than I do in normal old school is Blue Elemental Blast. I think there's a lot of really good red cards in Scryings, and Blue Elemental Blast is just so nice against those. I guess some of the other decks that I would say are new decks you can play, like the Natural Order deck. There's a lot of different ways to go with that. Pox is a deck that people can play, and I guess there's also Dance of the Dead, which Reanimator is sort of a thing in old school, but it's a lot more of a thing in Scryings when you have 8 reanimation spells.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and playing Reanimator and regular old school is pretty tough. Both tough on the pocketbook and tough to pull off. It's one of my few wins on the Winter Derby.
I just lost to it on the Winter Derby yesterday, actually, which I just drew all lands. It was just kind of embarrassing, but yeah.
Let me ask you one more question, then let's talk through Derby. If you want, are you still alive for a top 8?
Yeah, I'm 5-2. I got one match left, so
okay. I'll hold off on that question then.
No. I'm playing against Seth, and we both know each other what Joe's playing, so it's not a big deal.
Oh, okay. All right. What's your next deck going to be in Scryings? That's kind of my last Scryings question.
Yeah, so I played against the guy playing Imperial Armor he had Imperial Armor and Undiscovered Paradise to kind of keep cards in his hand, and I started thinking more about it, and I was like, actually, because he was playing red, green, white, and I was thinking maybe just played green, white with a Quirion Ranger and Tithe as ways to get cards in your hand, because you can just pick up Forest with Quirion Ranger, and then your Imperial Armors are big, and then just play evasive guys. You could play Riverboa. You put on your Birds of Paradise, which is pretty good, and then also maybe some of the Pro Red Falcon or the Pro Black Falcon to get around removal. So Imperial Armor is a green white deck that I think could be my next Scryings deck. Otherwise, I would probably think I would play probably just a Sacred Mesa control deck. I think that's something to explore. We talked a little bit about it. What's the best way to do this? Max out the Sacred Mesas and figure out a way to just kill them really fast. What's better than playing Jam Tome and drawing 8 cards every turn when you can just make
16 kill people. Yeah.
16 Pegasus and then they're dead. So I think those would be probably my 2. I would probably lean towards trying out the Imperial Armor deck though.
Make Savannah better. Make Savannah a real card.
Make Savannah make it to a card.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna play green white in my next 2 events. So hopefully I'm not gonna make Savannah a card, but I'm at least gonna play the ones that I have.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk Winter Derby. I have done what I normally do and gone like 3 and 5. So
Okay.
about average for me, about average.
Yeah.
Obviously you've done much better, which is to be expected. What are you playing?
I'm playing kind of just like a remix of the deck I played at the Eternal Weekend um, event. It's just like a ATOG deck with Sedge Trolls. So
Nice.
um,
Okay.
it's something I've started tinkering around with playing ATOG in 4 strip formats to be able to play ATOG with main deck City in a Bottle as like additional ways to land screw them. You know, you can get their City of Brass or their library. And if decks are playing a lot of City of Brass, you can play the City of Bottle in addition to your strip mines and keep them under Black Vice. Um, yeah, actually, just against my reanimator opponent this last round, you know, I was just drawing a bunch of land, but I had 2 Black Vice in play and a City in a Bottle, and he had 6 cards in his hand, and he couldn't play any of them because they were either like Swords to Plowshares or City of Brass that he couldn't play, and so he started taking damage, and I thought I might actually steal the game until he drew balance, but yeah,
It happens.
it happens. It
Like
happens.
yeah.
But yeah, just like the idea that like sometimes you do get to play City in a Bottle and really put that extra screws on their mana along with the 4 strip mines. So I don't know if it's I don't think it's necessarily the best way to build an ATOG deck, but it's definitely not a bad way to build it. And I just really like ATOG a lot because of how strong Time Twister and Wheel of Fortune are in those decks. And I think if you can make your deck be the best at those, you have such a leg up on every other deck in the format that either can't play them or has to like side them out against you while you get to keep them
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, I played a Sedge Troll deck. I was just in Vegas for an event that I'm going to talk about with the guys later, but the I played Sedge Troll, like just kind of like black red Sedge Troll with like Rook eggs and shit like that,
Okay.
and made a very poor choice and just like transitional sideboard into ATOG, which is just I don't know. I can't play either deck well, so playing both together was not great. But yeah, I like kind of I feel like I should have put the City of Brass in, or not City of Brass, Sitting in a Bottle in as my one of my sideboard cards. It makes sense what you're saying, and now I
Yeah.
know for when I build it in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, you know, it's obviously fine to play a main deck when you have ATOGs because you can just sack it to ATOG
Right.
later. And, you know, at first I played it with white instead of black and played Savannah Lions instead of Sedge Trolls, which was a lot more burn heavy. And it was fine, but like not having Demonic Speed or Mind Twist is just real bad, especially when you have uh, the draw 7s. So put it in Sedge Trolls. It's been pretty happy. Like I've been able to win some games with Sedge Troll that I didn't think, you know, I don't think any other card would have won me those games. It's been pretty impressive there. One downside though is that you're a lot weaker to Circle Protection Red with 4 Trolls,
Sure.
4 Togs, 4 Lightning Bolts. People bring that in, and you have to have a way to deal with it. And if you're not playing the white cards, you can't disenchant it. So I've been playing 2 Gloom in the sideboard, which did win me a match against COP Red. So it
Nice.
worked out. I don't like Gloom's not a card I normally think is strong enough, but specifically if you have to beat COP Red, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think in a one strip I would just like splash white and just play
Yeah,
disenchants.
if it's
But
pretty easy to
yeah,
play something else. But you know, when I'm not I'm only playing one City of Brass because of my own City in a Bottle. It's like
makes sense.
it's
Yeah.
hard to splash. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think in four strip I think you get value in playing less colors
Hmm.
because like I mean like I people get away with playing like 3 and 4 color decks in four strips, but like sometimes I just get punished. But
Yeah.
it is
And you
what it
also
is.
just want to try to find a way to play colorless cards. And so playing stuff like Relic Barrier and City in a
Yep.
Bottle and stuff you can just cast off of an off-color Mox and a strip mine if you don't need the strip mine right away. And that's something that I like, you know, even so far as to maybe play Aelia Pile in the sideboard if you need extra damage instead of a colored spell. But
I got blown out with the old Aeoli pile
yeah,
during the derby here. Yeah. Got fucking. I was playing some mono white deck. I'll list these people off in the credits, but like, and they brought in Aeoli piles, and I like just couldn't fucking win with all my orders. Just couldn't win.
it just beats the order. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
good times.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this will actually be a nice short episode because I don't want to keep you up late.
Uh,
What else? What else do you want to talk about? Anything else?
um, yeah, I got some stuff on my mind, but I'm trying to save it for like a blog post. I haven't quite expanded it out, but it's basically how people run tournaments and what's the goal of running a tournament. Really, it's just like mainly a rant against doing like Swiss +1. I also think
really okay.
I don't like Swiss +1. I think you should have a top 8 playoff or a top 4 playoff or something. I think there's a lot of drama and value of that. I understand that there's like time considerations and not everyone gets to play, but I think you can be creative. There's creative solutions to these issues that I'm still, I've got a long blog post I've been like trying to work on for like a couple of weeks now, and it may take a while to get it out, but that's going to be basically the idea is like other ways to do formats, because we're not beholden to anything, in the underground, as they say. We don't have to do Swiss tournaments if we don't want to. We don't have to do anything if we want it. So, but one idea that I was kind of floating at this Scryings event is if you do Swiss -1.
What does that mean? Like,
so the recommended number of Swiss rounds is based on ensuring that everyone with X1 would make a top 8 playoff.
Okay.
But if you've ever played like a competitive event where there's a top 8, generally that last round, people are just intentionally drawing into the top 8. So like that last round didn't need to happen to make that top 8. And so it's basically, where do you want to shift the feel bad on the tiebreakers? Like, is it the X2 that didn't make the top 8 after the Swiss rounds, or is it the X1 that missed out on the top 8 after Swiss -1? And I don't think there's really any reason to do that. And if you save that time from that extra round, that gives you an extra time to play your top 8. That's the thinking there. And I think it's a lot of I think there's a lot of value to have a top 8, and I think there's definitely like people either want to watch it or be a part of it. That's something that when I was in Italy for the WinCon, they had the 3 events in 3 days, which is a lot of fun, and like each of them had their top 8, and like there was people, there's probably a dozen people watching the finals of any particular tournament, and it makes it feel a little more special than just, oh, we played some rounds of Magic and here's the standings.
Ooh. You make a good argument. Like I would say, before you said that, I was talking to Brian Vexo, and I was like, dude, I'm like, even if this tournament just like, if we all showed up in Vegas, right? I'm like, if you didn't have a tournament, and like, let's say something broke and you just couldn't run a tournament, if you just said, hey guys, just play, and then when you win, find somebody who has the same record as you and just keep playing until we hit 5 games, like people probably wouldn't give a fuck.
I think that's totally fair. That's definitely a way to do it, and I think probably one of the easiest ways to do a tournament is to just do Swiss an undetermined amount until you have one winner.
Yeah.
But that's my biggest issue with a lot of these structures, is that there's never like a match that somebody's playing
for the win.
For the win. And sometimes there is, but sometimes there's not. Like this last one, there was somebody got paired down and won, somebody got like paired up and won, and so like there was a 3-way tie at the top of the standings, and now it's on tiebreakers. Whereas like, if you stopped it a round before, you would have had a clear winner or a clear cut to top 8, and like playing extra rounds doesn't help decide that. So having the match where people know that they're playing for the win, I think is high drama, and it's something to strive for.
Okay. All right. I'm in on it. Like I look forward to reading your blog post about it. We'll say that.
Okay. Yeah.
What's your next event?
My next event, there's the Alter Ante in York, Pennsylvania in March. That
you're gonna drive down for it?
I might. It's only like two hours away, so it's close enough. It's just like I don't know what else I'm doing. I'm supposed to go to Dallas later in March for the Hunter Burton Memorial Open. Yep. Play Modern, play Vintage, or whatever they have going on there. So if the travel lines up, I'll probably try and go to both. Priorities with the Hunter Burton. It's a tournament I've been playing every year for 10 years now, and it's a good cause, and it's like a good excuse to go back to Texas and see my friends. But hopefully I can play the Alter Ante as well. I actually have a spreadsheet I made to calculate the value of my deck for the ante requirements on that. I don't know if you've looked at the requirements of it, but it's pretty fun.
I've listened to it. I have not looked into it because I know I can't go out that weekend. So
basically, it's just like trying to get your deck below $7,000 and building that way, because that's the maximum. Hitting the minimum is easy unless you just, because you're not actually playing for ante. So like, why not?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun to like see like exactly like, oh, you're like, man, I could play Underground Sea, but I can also just play City of Brass. That's like costs half as much and is just as good in a lot of these.
The value. The value bet
or something else. So that's probably my next event. And then I haven't seen too much on the calendar up in this area up until after that, but I'm sure there'll be something that pops up.
Nice, dude. Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Are you gonna come out? Are you gonna go any further? Are you gonna go to Europe at all this year? Are you gonna do WinCon again?
No, probably not. It was really just kind of a fluke that I was in WinCon, where like I was already planning on going to Europe that weekend, and for my wife had a conference in Germany, and I was like gonna go hang out with her, and I was like, well, actually, I'll just go to Italy instead and play Magic for 3 days while you're in your
They're basically the same place. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so, it was like if it hadn't been that, I wouldn't have gone. But I probably don't plan on going to Europe or anything bigger this year. I don't know. It depends. It really depends on a lot of things. But I'll probably try and get to LobsterCon for sure. And then yeah, I don't know. It depends on what's out there.
Okay, fair enough.
If people want to invite me, maybe I'll make it. I don't know.
All right, dude.
How about you? You gonna come out this way anytime at all, or?
I want to come out for LobsterCon, but I don't know if I have enough PTO because I burned it all when I first got hired, like a fucking idiot. So not an idiot, but
I'm in kind of the same spot at my new job. It's like I went from working for the state, Texas DOT, where like plenty of time off, lots of holidays, and it's like now I'm working private sector stuff, and it's like, oh, I don't have nearly as much time off. I don't have nearly as many holidays. It's at least the hours are still fine, but it's like I really just need to take off. But they're pretty flexible about when I do my hours, so maybe I'll be able to just work extra during the week and take off a Friday to go up to LobsterCon and play pre-modern, which
my take on pre-modern, it's a great format that I just don't give a fuck about. Like I can't get into it. There's guys here who love it. I can't fucking do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit the nerve.
That's fair. Yeah, I think that's how like Simon talks about it. He's like, yeah, that's not nostalgic for me. It's like for me, it's pretty nostalgic. It's way more nostalgic than normal old school, and the games are a lot of fun. It's just the Austin guy has been doing all those middle school leagues, which I find to be much more compelling as far as deck building. But as far as like if you're gonna have a big tournament, pre-modern is probably a great tournament to have. Like there's a lot of good tournament level decisions you make for your decks. So
yeah, my problem is like with I have like a set schedule. So like I either work a weekend or I don't work a weekend. The weekends I don't work, I work the Monday before or the Friday before and the Monday after. So I really just have the Saturday, Sunday. So I'm like forced into taking PTO, like kind of if I ever want to do something. So
yeah. It's been nice living on the East Coast, especially I'm 30 minutes from Newark Airport, so I can get pretty much anywhere on a Friday if I need to get out. Especially on the East Coast, you get the time zone helping you out. So, I'll hopefully be able to make some other events for sure. Definitely want to get back to Houston the next time they do something there. I really wanted to go this last one, but
I want to pressure Simon into holding like a big event and just keep poking him about it.
Yeah. Well, I always told them that because they did this thing where they had old school on Saturday and then vintage on Sunday, or was it the other way around? I don't know which one it was. With the Austin guys, but it was like, hey, you just need to have the team event. You have 3-person teams. One's old school, one's vintage, one's middle school. Like
sure.
And I will be there. Like I will play on your team. I'll play any of the seats. I'll probably have to be playing the middle school seat or whatever, or vintage. But yeah,
I'll convince Mark, and then we'll find a third to come up and lose a bunch. It'll be fun.
Yeah. So hopefully they'll put that on. That's what I want.
I'm in on that. All right, I'll start a campaign in the Discord to get that going.
Team trios, maybe since it's a trio thing, maybe you guys, the Alamo City, can throw their name in as like a co-host. So you have 3 hosts for the three event,
Ooh.
3 format.
Do we do it? But do we do it in Dallas so that like so that nobody,
Neutral.
It's like neutral ground.
No, they can do their own thing. That's always how it's been in Texas, right?
Oh,
Like even back in like 2001, it was like the Houston and Austin guys were all together. The San Antonio people were around and you kind of knew them, and then like the Dallas guys were on their own planet. And
it'd be like who I like every time I go there, like for like an SCG, I'd be like, who the fuck are these people? Like,
there's so many people, and yeah, it's been that way for as long as I can remember playing Magic in Texas. They're their own world. They think they're good, and then like they come down to Austin and Houston and lose to the Austin and Houston players. And
yes. Just get fucking stomped. This is for the audience. We're talking like I'll put quote hands real Magic, like competitive Magic. Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah. And for those of you who've never been to Texas, like Houston is about 2 hours from San Antonio, and then Austin is like 45 minutes or an hour ish away from San Antonio. So like Houston, Austin, San Antonio kind of make a triangle, for lack of a better term. And then Dallas is like 4 fucking hours away.
Yeah.
It's basically a separate state.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what happens is, at least, I mean, I don't play it. I haven't played competitively in a very long time. That wasn't good enough anyhow. But like, that's my understanding. It's like everybody knows everybody. Like all the competitive players kind of know each other from those 3 states or 3 cities. And then Dallas is kind of like fucking out there.
Yeah. It's changed a lot. Like, back in 2000s, it was like you knew everybody anyway because there was just not that many people. But then, by the 2015, you didn't know anybody anywhere because there was just like 10 times as many people playing the events. But yeah, it's always been Dallas is its own thing. Even when you knew people that like used to live in Houston and moved to Dallas, like you just would never see them again. They'd be out playing with their own friends. You're like, hey man, unless there was an event in Dallas and you'd see them, once a season, you'd see everybody in Dallas. It's like, okay, because they wouldn't drive down to Austin for events for some reason because they could drive up to Oklahoma City or
yeah, OKC's not that bad of a drive from Dallas.
Yeah, they drive up to Arkansas or even sometimes those people can go up to. They get to go play the Lubbock events
oh, that's a drive.
Yeah, I did that once. I did the 12 hours from Houston to Lubbock. Won the PTQ and then drove back and was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. So foolishly I did it again. And then did not win the PTQ and then said never again.
If I had to go, even like Lubbock is like 8 hours ish from San Antonio. I've done that drive before, for like powerlifting stuff. Dude, I would fucking fly. I'd be like, cool, just get me as fucking I'd pay like the $100 for a charter and just
find a way to get there. Yeah.
Yeah, just rent a car or whatever.
Not anywhere close to anything.
It's such a flat drive. Like when you just like go out and you're just like on 10 and you just keep drive. You just like never. You just turn off at one point. That's it. Fucking sucks.
Yeah.
All right, dude. What else? What else we got?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's okay. We can end it here. I always want to just make sure that you get to say whatever you want to say.
No, I don't think there's anything I'm dying to say really. Like you said, I got that tournament stuff.
I'm interested to hear about that.
More Scryings. I guess that's the thing. People should run more Scryings events, and I know it's tough to convince people to like buy these cards, even though they're not worth anything.
Yeah, the most expensive card is like a Juggernaut. You don't even have to play that.
Yeah, you don't have to play Dreadnought. You don't have to play Tithe. You definitely don't have to play Tithe. Like, it's just like a nice card,
Is
like,
Tithe expensive? I haven't looked on.
It's like $25-$30, I think.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's not like outrageously, but like compared to literally like any of these other cards that are like probably less than $1. Like,
yeah.
I think every card is less than $1 except like Falling Glaciers, Tithe, and Juggernaut or Dreadnought. Maybe Pox is something. I don't know.
Oh, I doubt it. But even like most of everything I think except for Dreadnought has a gold border reprint. Like I have gold border Thawing Glaciers and I have gold border posts and stuff. Yeah. And I think Tithe is gold border too somewhere.
Yeah, and there's even some of these like some of them are even time shifted, like Enduring Renewal.
Sure.
It's a purple Orcus Librarian. Like there's stuff. You can find copies. So
I'm interested now after seeing some of the deck lists that Andy posted. I think like I don't know. I think it's worth a tournament. We'll see if it's a Swiss +1 or Swiss -1 tournament at some point. But
yeah, I would say if you're doing Swiss +1, you should just do Swiss. Like I don't that I think is clear enough. But unless you just want to play an extra round, which that's the best argument for any of these things is like people are here to play Magic. So let's play another round.
I like. What if everybody just played everybody once? No sideboards. 60 cards. Just round robin. Fuck it.
I do think round robin needs to be considered more, especially for smaller.
For small ones, for 20 people or less, round robin.
Yeah. 19 games, single. 19,
no sideboard.
Yeah.
No sideboard. You just shuffle and go.
19 still a lot, right? I guess it's like almost 7 rounds of Magic. Okay, yeah, you can probably get away with it.
That was my quick math. I'm not, but again, I'm not that great at math.
I definitely am going to include a section in my blog post about round robin, so I'll keep in mind that you can do that with just game 1 decks, no sideboard, which I like. I love a lot of playing like no sideboard Magic. Like
the next 2 events, I'm going no sideboard, just because like A, I'm not good at them, but B, like I don't really. I guess I just don't care that much.
Yeah. I like I definitely appreciate what sideboarding does for Magic. I think it's definitely one of the reasons I have a lot of success is being a lot better at sideboarding than other people, at least. And I'm not like, I have special or different philosophies on sideboard than like even the best players, but
sure.
Just having a plan is a lot better than like so many people that get you ahead. But I love playing the like the bring 3 decks, no sideboard, unified constructed thing. I love that format a lot. That's something I like. So yeah, just finding, but it favors certain decks when you don't have sideboards. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. 100%. Because like you could there's some decks you just can't beat without sideboard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll save that for later. We'll come back around to that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. I'll wait for the blog post.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, dude.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of your night. I look forward to seeing more of your mail posts in the Discord. I'm always interested to see what you're getting.
Kind of like got everything I need.
I kind of feel that way, but like I'm missing a bunch of like key stuff. But I'm also just like, when am I gonna have time to play it?
Yeah, stuff is like there's stuff I like would like to have like at the top of the list. I mean, maybe Juzams, maybe Guardian Beasts, maybe 3 more Time Vaults, and then there's stuff that like I would like to upgrade. Like maybe I should get some beta Llanowar Elves or beta Swords to Plowshares or something. But it's like not in any rush to do any of that. So like last year I was able to pick up the stuff I needed. I got my last Bazaar, my 4 workshops, and
nice.
So now it's like I can pretty much make anything I want that's not Juzams.
But like he's not even that good. Like he's not that good.
Right.
Like I feel like if you want to play mono black under Swedish rules, you need him.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're playing mono black under EC or Atlantic rules, I don't think he's worth the squeeze. Like, because he definitely eats the first piece of removal that somebody has. But I don't know.
Yeah, I just think that like the way those decks build themselves these days, where you're not playing Dark Ritual, and if you're not playing Dark Ritual, I think he gets even better. Whereas like if you were playing like Man Acceleration with Dark Ritual, it's like, oh yeah, you can just get away with Singer Vampire and like Hypnotic Spectre or whatever, and drain lives. But if you're not playing Dark Ritual, like you really just need the most efficient thing, and it's Juzam. So maybe if I can find them cheap, maybe prices will come down. Like,
dude, price. It's one thing. The one thing that's nice is prices have come down. Like these last couple months, like. I have to basically replace my chimney. Otherwise, I would have picked up a couple of things because apparently chimneys are fucked up. So
I don't know how you replace a chimney.
Let me tell you, it's going to cost me like 6 Library of Alexandrias to replace just the top 3 feet of my chimney.
Oh wow! Like the part that sticks out, huh? Like,
yeah, basically from the roof line up. And because like I was talking to Brian Urbano, and he's like, "Hey, I know you're looking for a library," and I was like, "I was looking for a library." was. Now I'm not, which is very sad. Owning a house fucking sucks. That's all there is to it.
Sold our house. We moved up here. We're looking to buy a house soon, but the market seems like it's calmed down a bit. But everything's twice as expensive here as Texas, so kind of
that's what we ran into. Like my place, like we had a house in San Antonio that was 1,600 square foot, new build. We paid like mid 3, low 3 for it. And it's like inside the 410 loop.
Sure.
Like right across from the hospitals, and we bought a 1950s house. We bought like basically like from the original owner, It's 2,000 square foot, but it's from the 1950s, and it cost us like upper sixes.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like
Yeah.
it's no joke. Like it's no joke out here with the
Yeah.
housing prices. It's fucking insane.
Yeah. There's stuff like Jersey's weird because it all depends on like where in Jersey you are, and it's
Yeah.
like yeah, especially where we're at. We're a little further out from the northern stuff, kind of central-ish, and so like if you're near a train stop, it's like an extra
Yeah.
100,000 on top of your what you would normally expect to pay for the house. And then some of these towns are just like they're not real towns; they're just train stop towns
Hmm.
and just neighborhoods. And it's like that's not really what we want. So we found it like the area where we're at, where we're renting, is nice. So it's
Nice.
probably just gonna get something here if we can find something. But yeah, like nothing's gonna beat our deal we had in College Station, where we had like 2,200 square feet for like just over 200, and,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Like
like we made like even when we sold it, like when we moved, it was we made like 80,000 off of it because it was like peak of the
yeah.
everyone was buying everything. It's like, oh, this is a good time to sell, and now it's like, okay, I think it's calmed down. So
Yeah, it's just like a matter of holding out on like the interest rates on the mortgages, right? So I don't
yeah,
know. My wife's much smarter about this, so
yeah,
I leave all this up to her.
yeah. And I guess I don't really know, like the VA loan, right, does do stuff with the interest rate.
Oh, that's right. You have VA. Like we're on VA too, because
Huh.
that's how we can afford
Yeah.
this, right? Like yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know how that works. My
Okay.
wife could probably explain it to you, but
Yeah, I know when we bought our house, it was great because like we didn't need any money down, and at the time we had like no
bingo.
down payment. And it's like now we
Yep,
do have like down payment because we sold the house, but if I don't have to put it down, I don't want to. Like
exactly.
it's better uses for that. Buy some Juzams or something.
Yeah, I mean, like, or you could like use it to invest money into the property that
Yeah,
you buy, right? Like, and just yeah, exactly. So yeah, if you have questions about that, just message. I mean, there's plenty of smart people out there, but like, my wife could probably answer that question because she has effectively bought both of these houses. Any house we've ever bought, she has done the work, and I just go to the signing and do this until she tells me to stop.
that's great. It's good to have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you're asking who the smarter person is in this relationship, it's
Yeah, she knows what
100%.
she's doing. Yeah,
Like I'm just now finding like a real doctor to go to. I'm like, oh, I should probably have like a PCP. I'm 38. Should probably figure that out.
yeah, yeah. We need to find it like a dentist up here. It's like need to do that.
Yeah, I know adulting's the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Pull my own teeth.
Yeah.
All right, dude. I
Yeah.
will. I will just. We need to continue this conversation, but we need to do it at some point. We just got after the blog post. I want to talk to you about these tournament structures thing. That's really
Yeah.
got my mind cranking over. Obviously, you've thought about it more than I have, but
Yeah, well, that's just the thing is I've been thinking about it a lot for a lot of years. Just as part of like playing Grand Prix, it's like this is really the best way to do
yeah.
it. And then it's just like we have a lot of opportunity here to do something different, and we should at least think about it. And a lot of
Hold
people
on,
just
I'm gonna stop recording right now. But then
okay.
I want to ask you a question about Grand Prix. But it's yeah, off. Okay, and stop.